TV Live. I'm Christia Parker, and now joining me in the studio is Bill DeMichele, and he's a promoter for the St. Louis Old School Tattoo Expo coming up this weekend. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Now, as we discussed a little earlier, St. Louis has a rich history in tattooing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it really does. You know, my co-promoter Lyle Tuttle, who is actually a very famous tattoo artist himself in San Francisco. He's most well known for tattooing Janis Joplin and a lot of people like that back in the days, back in the 70s. We were looking for a city that was rich in tattoo history, since we are the old school.
And you're from
I'm from New York. I'm from New York myself. And we just have always loved driving through St. Louis. For one, it's a great downtown, great town. There's great food and great restaurants, great music, so we always have fun while we're here. But it goes all the way back to 1904 when they had the World's Fair here, which I just love the park and the museum. You're right there in
So right there in Forest Park, there's a picture of
Forest Park had that great World's Fair, and there was actually a tattoo exhibit there. A gentleman by Gus Wagner had a tattoo exhibit and demonstrated tattooing. And on a romantic note, he met his wife, Maud, in St. Louis. She was doing a trapeze act at the time.
Now, did she have a tattoo at the time, or she was just
not
doing
tattooed? No, they fell in love. She had a fascination for tattoos. She did become heavily tattooed and was actually the tattooed woman, part of his act back in the day. And they traveled all over the world demonstrating and doing tattooing, and she would exhibit her tattoos. So it all started here in St. Louis.
So right now it's common, but it was more of an exhibit then. Back
then, well, there were tattoo shops, and one of the oldest in the United States started right here in St. Louis. A gentleman named Bert Grimm had his first tattoo shop at 4 Broadway. Building is now gone.
And that's the building there on the screen.
Yes, it is, and that's his wife. And they did a little photography, did tattooing. Back then it wasn't real popular, and tattooing was very inexpensive. So most tattoo artists had a little sideline, either an amusement park or a shooting gallery or something like that to help subsidize the income. But he was there for over 20 years, and he started in the 20s. So St. Louis does have a rich history.
Very rich. Now, when tattoo first started, what were the most common tattoos that people would get, and how have they evolved? Well,
tattooing has been with us since, well, going way back. They're finding the first tattoos going back to the Ice Age. They discovered a man in the Alps who was a wanderer who actually goes all the way back to almost caveman. So tattooing has been with us. But modern tattooing or contemporary tattooing, if you want to call it, in the 20s or turn of the century, 1900s, was primarily for marking an event, either going to war, just coming back, just getting out of boot camp. A lot of soldiers, yes, a lot of soldiers would bond by their tattoos. And even today, tattooing, a lot of times, it's to mark an event, getting married, getting divorced, having a child, having a death in the family, something like that.
So what are the most common reasons that you hear that people tattoo?
That's what it usually is. There's usually some kind of marking an event. I always say it truly is wearing your heart on your sleeve. You may want to show your childhood. You may want to show a transition. When you get a tattoo, it does change your life. And it usually makes you feel better about yourself. Even if you can't see the tattoo, you're making a statement of some kind that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And again, it's usually at a point, you just graduated college, you just, you're in love, something of that nature.
Now, we got a lot to talk about more. We're going to talk about contemporary tattooing and how it's changed and what makes a great tattoo artist. We'll talk about that when we come back. But I just want to let people know that the expo is coming up this weekend. It's November 2nd through the 4th, right?
Correct.
It's going to happen at the Ramada Plaza, 811 North 9th Street. You guys do not want to miss this. We got a lot more to talk about with Bill when we come back. Remember to keep up with STL TV and all the great events going on around St. Louis. You have to friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can always catch us streaming live at stltv.net. We'll be right back after this.